and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that just bought some new cans of spray paint. It's Niall Moore.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm good, man. You doing some touch-ups?
Just here and there, where the skin's peeling off.
How old are you now?
Oh, I must be over 100 at this stage. I can
Wow.
definitely see the white hairs. I need to invest in some hair dye as well.
Did you give everything you had to become immortal?
I don't know.
Yeah, so long
Did
ago.
I? Yeah, it was a while. Though the thing is, if Isabella Rossellini came and offered me that, would I say no?
Yeah, it's a good. She's a good salesman.
Yeah,
for sure.
She does a good job.
And then her like professional wrestler bodyguards.
Yeah, with this magnificent mane of like 80s action villain hair.
Oh man, they could have gone right into Die Hard.
Oh yeah.
They probably got Bruce Willis probably got the cast of Die Hard to come into this film.
It's just like, yeah, hey guys, right, I'm doing this movie. Come, stand around and be shirtless and have long hair. Do it.
Easy payday. I just want to say, the first episode, the first episode we did together was Back to the Future, Zemeckis picture. Recently,
Yeah.
I covered Used Cars, Zemeckis film. I just talked about Trespass, which was written by Zemeckis, and now I'm back on another Zemeckis film with the 1992 Death Becomes Her. So you've led to a Zemeckis assance here at MFF.
Well, he's got a great back catalog. There's so much to his work to look at, and like I enjoy. As I said on the previous podcast, the Back to the Future one, I really like a lot of his movies. They're just like really good.
Mm-hmm. And he loves pushing technology to its brink, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit with the animation and live action, and then Back to the Future. I don't know too much, but I mean, just the theme of it was wonderful. Forrest Gump with those digital effects, geez Louise. And then his Polar Express, Beowulf. He loved The Walk. I never watched that. Did you see The Walk?
He loves. I didn't, but yeah, he loves to push the boundaries of what's possible. I saw like one of the. I was doing a troll around YouTube for like making of featurettes, etc., with like interviews with some of the crew. And one of the VFX guys were saying, it's like, yeah, the great thing about working with Robert is he will always ask you to do something that's probably impossible. And then you have to figure out how to do it.
And I read that same one too. The guy just said it was the visual effects coordinator or visual effects. I have his name right here. Actually, I just went to another review. Let's see, Ken Ralston. And he's like, this is impossible. But then once we make the possible, that goes on our name and our reel. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that interview, it was pretty interesting what they said to him. They're like, how do you feel about making such iconic visual effects? He's like, well, I can't, because after this was Jurassic Park, and then I got to move on to other things, and there's Phantom Menace. So that's such an awesome thing to say. Like, you helped pioneer skin tone and VFX, and you won an Academy Award for this film. How's it feel? That was good. I just had to go into another job right after it. It's kind of, I love it. It's like one of those athletes, like Jordan. How do you feel about your third championship? He's like, which one was that?
Well,
yeah.
Was that the one before my fourth?
Yeah,
I don't really remember.
That's one of the best say right there, for sure.
Yeah, it's this was the first one to have like proper like human skin in CG, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's what? I mean, it looks good for 92.
It looks very good for 92. And you can see a lot from like the way they filmed it. It's these techniques which are common practice now, where you see the Marvel films where it's green screens and everything like to the nth degree. Like these guys were trailblazing. And
Absolutely.
Meryl Streep was wearing like a blue like snuggie over her face, cover her head, and then having to like walk backwards to get that like really weird gait. It was like a funny story as part of the thing. Her mother came on set the day they were filming that. You're like a high-paid movie star. Why the hell are they covering your head?
Oh, and she hated it. Meryl Streep said, I will never do another visual effects movie again. Just through the stuff. Because, like you said, they had to put a blue bag over her head, have her walk backwards. And then they put an entire blue suit over her with just her head out and had her talking. Yeah. And then they shot a clean plate and they blended all those together with the lighting and like that's, I mean, it's a lot of work on the front end too to make sure everything matches. And then to get to the blue screens and shoot it. Yeah, she was definitely annoyed by that. I haven't heard Goldie complain though, but Goldie just had that hole in her stomach. And that was an animatronic or like a puppet that they made, and they just dumped water through the top of it and it spilled through her middle, that hole. Oh, it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like one of the, my wife really, really wants to do Death Becomes Her as a Halloween costume. So we want to get like a group effort. Like one will go as kind of Meryl with like the twisted neck. Want to do like the the Goldie thing with like get an iPad and like shoot through the basically hook it up to a camera so it actually looks like you got a hole in the stomach. And then I guess I get to be the boring one and just be like Bruce Willis and the kind of the normal dude carry around a couple of cans of spray paint.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, like you could be not Tuxedo Willis, but you could be Haggard Willis carry a dartboard around.
Oh yeah.
You know what I loved most about him is when he went to move out of that mansion. When Dr. Ernest Menville was trying to escape from Madeline Ashton, he grabs a dartboard. And from our history of playing darts, I was like, that's the perfect choice, Bruce Willis. Good job on that. That made me very happy. That is one thing he wanted to move with was a dartboard.
Well, that's the thing. It's probably the one thing that was actually his in the house. Everything else was kind of just like bought because Madeline wanted it, and it's this, and it's like, that thing's mine. I'm taking it. Like I can see doing that in a huff. You grab like the one thing that you feel like taking. Don't know what mine would be. Is there anything that springs to mind, like where you're sat right now and looking around the room? Is there anything would be the one thing you'd grab?
All right, so aside from computers.
Yeah.
Okay, so aside from computers, oh geez Louise. Let's see. If I could only grab one thing, I would just get one of my Wes Anderson prints from Tim Doyle that's framed on my wall. I'll just grab one of them. Grab that.
Nice.
I don't know which one. I would take my Darjeeling Limited. That's what I would take. If I had to run out of here with one item, I would grab that.
Nice.
Yeah. I think I'll do that. I think that's it right there. And then I would immediately regret it and think about 18 other things.
It's like, no, I should have taken that thing.
Should have taken my dartboard.
Do you have a dartboard?
No, I don't. I should have bought a dartboard to take. Jeez Louise. But that made me so happy. he just stole it. And I have a question for you. So this movie, I know it's a big cult classic right now. People really adore this film, and I know critics tore it apart. They said how empty it was and how shallow it was. But that was the point. Like Meryl Streep said that this is a documentary about the culture of like augmenting your body. She said this was a documentary of Hollywood in the 70s. Which made me really laugh. But I think there's enough cheeky dialogue in this movie, and it's such a heightened atmosphere the entire time. Like that must have been exhausting to keep up on set. I mean, Meryl and Goldie and Bruce, they put some work in for this film.
Oh yeah, you can't really fault them. Like there was, this was before Bruce Willis kind of got a little bit tired of acting and was just doing it for the paychecks. It was, I guess pre-Pulp Fiction, but post Die Hard, he was one of the biggest stars in the world at that time.
Yeah, imagine being on this set, right? You have gigantic sets, you shoot at some really cool locations, but you got Zemeckis who is just making blockbusters. You have Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, and Bruce Willis. Like this had a big budget back then. This was a big picture, and it's such a dark, like cynical. The two leads end just this like all like melted and everything's falling off and then they fall apart at the end. And that's the movie. This was a $50 million cynical movie. It kind of reminds me of Zemeckis' stuff when he was working on Tales from the Crypt. This is a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Maybe it had its start there. You never know. It might have been something he kind of thought of. Wasn't able to do it because of the technical constraints. And when technology finally caught up, he kind of had, remember that idea I had about doing this? I think I could do that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell you, so, what's interesting too, like ILM had done The Abyss and T2, but they had done just the metallic stuff. So, I mean, that was incredible. I mean, you and I don't know how old you were, but I remember watching T2 for the first time and seeing that liquid metal, just the T1000 reforming and how amazing that was. Like, that blew my mind. I wish I would have, I don't know what I would have thought about this when I was 11. Watching this movie, 10. This movie came out when I was 10. That'd have been an interesting watch.
I remember it coming out because for whatever reason, it was the trailer for it was on like all of the videos I was renting at the time. It was like we'd rent a movie and it was like, this new comedy, Death Becomes Her, like Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep and Bruce Willis. And, I just remember seeing the trailers and seeing they spoiled like some of the gruesome effects, and you'd see just like, Goldie with a hole in her, for example, in the trailer. Mm-hmm. And just thinking, it's like, wow, that's really cool. How did they do that?
No, you're right. This was legit groundbreaking visual Oscar-winning stuff back then. I think it's so easy to forget about that. But no, you're right. I always saw the poster with her head backwards and then the hole through her. I thought, man, I gotta watch this movie sometime. But I'm kind of happy I didn't see it when I was 10. That'd have been interesting to process. Because I think everything would have gone over my head. Maybe I would have liked it because it is very loud and out there and, everything's just so heightened. But no, I waited
until... It is
quite
silly.
Yeah.
It's got definite silliness to it. And the thing is, even though it's a little bit over the top, it's not gruesome.
No.
It is more like cartoonized violence, like the head twisting around or, just the big hole in the stomach. Like, it's not gory. It's like something you would see in, a kid's cartoon. It's like, okay, boom, oh, the baddie has a hole in their stomach, and then he's going to like fall over and his ghost is going to go up holding, with his angel wings or whatever. It's not like something like the Saw movies, where it's ultra violent and there's blood and guts everywhere, and it's kind of.
Mm-hmm. I mean, once that hole gets shot in her, and there's no blood, it's just water.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I guess, is that because she had already been turned into an immortal? So then your body... Okay, I have a question. Why is Elvis still looking great? Why is James Dean, Andy Warhol, Marilyn Monroe, all these people who are in this party, why do they still look excellent when they've been knocking around for a lot longer than...
Because they're
Madeline...
not dead.
What's up?
Because they're not dead.
They're not dead?
Well, basically, Madeline has, she's died, right? She's had her neck broken.
Mm-hmm.
Helen has had a hole blown through her. They are now just reanimated corpses. Perhaps that's how it works. It just keeps you exactly as you are, unless you die, and then it'll even keep you alive when you're dead.
Oh,
as this kind of reanimated kind of corpse thing.
Oh gosh, I didn't even think about that. No, that's got to be it. And then they're just slowly falling apart.
Yeah, they're falling apart because there are just these shambling corpses who are, kept alive. Whereas, Elvis, Marilyn, etc., they've kept themselves to themselves, kept reasonably healthy. They haven't, gone into a murderous rage and killed each other. So.
Wow. So they found eternal life, and then they basically wreck it for each other because they just never communicated and they held grudges against each other.
Yeah, that kind of says a lot about the characters themselves. They're not nice people.
No.
They are really, really, really horrible people. You do not root for them at all. I don't even know if I'm rooting for Bruce Willis, to be honest. He's a bit of a kind of nothing guy who's got himself stuck in these relationships with women who obviously just mistreat him.
Yeah, he does not have a good relationship with Meryl Streep. And then when he's with Goldie, I guess, I know her name is Helen, but I just like Goldie. When he's with Goldie, she brings him to meet Madeline as a test. And then she kind of is walking on him. So yeah, he's just sort of a doorstep guy who's just become completely miserable, drinking Bloody Marys in the morning and making people who have died look better.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Madeline is just a complete narcissist. It's like she only took which way around was it? I can't remember. Was he with Helen first or was he with
Yeah, he was with Helen.
First?
So he showed up to the play that everyone's walking out of and a guy goes, "I need a drink." So Madeline Ashton's so bad in this play that some guy walks out saying he needs a drink and Helen brings him into it and he's the only one clapping. And then they meet. And then Madeline learns he's a plastic surgeon or a doctor, and she goes and steals him away. And that's when Goldie becomes the cat lady.
An undertaker.
Yeah, it turns him into a really good undertaker. But then Helen becomes a overweight cat lady in full Rick Baker-esque makeup.
Yeah, that's right.
That's this is a weird. So okay, this is a weird movie, but I love it. It's such a non-typical Hollywood